To continue concepts in algebra, we'll talk about finding the equation of a line perpendicular to the graph of a given equation. And when you're given an equation of a line and you're asked to find the equation of a line perpendicular to that, you must first find the slope of the line and then use a point that's been given to you to find the actual equation of that line. So let's go ahead and use that in an application right now. Not an application, I'm sorry, in an example right now. So write an equation for the line that's perpendicular to the graph of this equation, given that it passes through 1, 4. The first thing you're going to need to do is find the slope of the given equation. You will want to find the slope of that equation first, because we know that a line that's perpendicular to this line will have a slope that's a negative reciprocal. So the first thing I'm going to do is start solving for y. So I'll add 2x to both sides, so I should get 3y is equal to, I'll subtract 2x from both sides. So 3y is equal to a negative 2x plus 6, and then I'll divide both sides by 3. So that implies that we'll get y is equal to a negative 2/3 x plus 2. So I see the slope of this line is a negative 2/3. So the slope of any line perpendicular to it, I'll just write slope, and I'll put this sub, it looks like an upside down T. What that means is the slope of a line perpendicular. That symbol means perpendicular. So the slope of the line that's perpendicular to this will have, well, you flip that negative 3/2, it'll be a positive, or it'll be a 3/2, and then you rip off the negative. So flip it, negate it. So that's the slope of the line. Now remember, slope-intercept form of a line is y equals mx plus b. And in this case, we know that the slope of our perpendicular line is 3/2, so I'm going to go ahead and substitute that in for m. So this implies that we have y is equal to 3/2 x plus b. Now, of all the letters that are in this equation here, 2 are variables that we need to keep in the equation. The y and the x are perfectly fine being there. However, this b is what does not belong here. We'll have to find out what b is. The best way to do that is plug in the point that we were given. So I'm going to replace x with 1, and I'll replace y with 4. Here we go. So that implies 4 is equal to 3/2 times 1 plus b. I'll go ahead and subtract 3/2 from both sides. Some people would prefer to multiply both sides by 2 first. It doesn't really matter to me. In fact, I often teach my students to multiply both sides of the equation by 2 first. What I'm doing here is bad notation, by the way, so if you are watching this and you're not a student of mine, or maybe you're an instructor or something like that, this is actually not the greatest notation in the world. Usually you'd multiply both sides by 2, and that's technically what I am doing. Every object gets a 2 attached to it. So we will get, on the left-hand side, 8, and then on the right-hand side, well, on the 3/2, the 2's will cancel, so I'll just have 3 plus. And then something that students often forget is to place a 2 in front of that b. It distributes to that b as well. I'll subtract 3 from both sides, and then I'll divide both sides by 2. So I see that in my equation here, that b that I don't want in there anymore, I'm going to replace that with a 5/2. So the equation of the line perpendicular to the given line and going through the point 1, 4 is y equals 3/2 x plus 5/2.